and welcome to our May 2024 edition of VMRay Sandbox Detection highlights. Let's wait for a couple of seconds until people people are still joining. Okay, welcome everyone. Again, hello. Welcome to our May 2024 edition of VMRay Sandbox Detection highlights. I'm Hussein Fatih Akar, and I'm the security product manager at VMRay. I lead the advanced threat detection analysis part of our product line. And today, I'll be guiding you through our latest updates and highlights in threat detection. We have some exciting news and advancements to share with you, and let's dive right in. Let's take a look at what's new this month. First up, we have updates on our configuration extractors and Yara rules, specifically focusing on QuasarRAT. Next, we have a new VTI rule, particularly in respect to identifying and mitigating abuses involving OpenAI and large language models. And VTI, for those of you who don't know, it stands for VMRay Threat Identifiers that actually catches the static and dynamic malicious behavior. Additionally, we have enhanced our capabilities to detect these threats that aim to disable backup services, ensuring better protection against data loss. And finally, we have updates regarding email threats. We have shipped some new triggers for our Smart Link Detonation feature, which help us stay ahead of sophisticated email-based attacks. So before we dive into our topics today, I'd like to get a sense of what you're most interested in. Please take a moment to answer this quick poll. Let's wait a couple of more seconds for everyone to respond, because your input is really valuable to us as it helps us tailor our entire discussion in these webinars to your interests. Thank you for your responses. Let's move on to our first topic. As always, our goal is to keep you informed and up to date with the latest developments in cybersecurity, particularly regarding malware and regarding malware configuration extractors and Yara rules. Today, we're focusing on recent update in our malware configuration extraction capabilities, specifically around QuasarRAT. And this update is a part of our ongoing efforts to enhance our detection and mitigation strategies against evolving all of these threats regarding QuasarRAT. And QuasarRAT has been a persistent threat in the cyber landscape, and we use this as a chance actually to provide an overview of remote access trojans and delve into the specifics of QuasarRAT, and then follow up discussing the threat actors that utilize this tool actually. And also, we will have a quick demo today that's showcasing our latest analysis report, which highlights how our updated configuration extraction mechanism works against QuasarRAT and what you can expect from it. Let's discuss the remote access trojans and their activities. So just to give a definition and their purposes, a remote access trojan, a RAT, is designed to allow an attacker to basically remotely control a computer that is a similar protocol to remote desktop protocols that we have in the Windows environments. And another similar concept to this is the ability that is provided by softwares like TeamViewer. But however, in RATs, all of these things are provided for the attacker's benefits for malicious purposes. It's basically sets up a command and control channel within the attacker's server for sending commands and receiving data against this RAT agent. And this provides an attacker with a lot of control. It's a significant control over a compromised system, offering functionalities that is really similar to a legitimate remote administration tools. And attackers can see and do whatever they want on infected machine. Commonly, These are used for launching the distributed denial of service attacks by controlling numerous devices to flood a server with requests and redirect their entire power against this targeted server. And some examples of RATs include async RAT, ramcods, and NJRAT. But today we're going to focus on, again, as we said, QuasarRAT. And as you can see from the charts on the left-hand side, the RAT activity overall is quite prevalent and actually poses a significant threat. And the C2 channels and all kinds of DDoS attacks that has been allowed by these malware families pose a significant challenge. And by understanding and monitoring all of these activities, we can better defend against such threats and protect our systems from being compromised, basically. And let's dive into the QuasarRAT itself. One of the prominent remote access versions out there, and to share a bit of its history and capabilities, it's basically an open source product, interestingly enough. And QuasarRAT has been available since 2014, and in the last decade, it blended in with a lot of common tools. It's renamed from original known as XRAT to QuasarRAT in 2015, and it includes a lot of advanced capabilities like taking a screenshot, capturing the screenshot, and recording you through a webcam, and key logging, visiting websites automatically, and managing files in operating systems, and gathering all kinds of information that could be sensitive. And it has a lot of remote functions because it's a remote access version. It just supports the remote desktop access and also remotely activating the webcam and logging the keystroke, as we mentioned. And it has a notable use by the APTs. And QuasarRAT has been used against NATO facilities in March 2023, targeting a lot of government entities and defense contractors supporting Ukraine. And definitely it uses a lot of evasion techniques like process hollowing as process hollowing technique involves using Windows APIs such as write process memory, virtual iLok, and virtual protect, which we covered these techniques in the last month's update, where we shipped a VTI for detecting all of these. So these detection updates are staying pretty relevant to the threats that we see out there. And we see a common theme. We saw a common theme in the data that we observed through Malware Bazaar. All of them used 1/3 of the actual QuasarRAT IOCs was using a 4782. And this is a pre-configured default port that is coming with the default settings. But now the attackers are changing this a bit and at least putting some changes in that port to not get detected anyway, the defense mechanism. So, this comprehensive understanding of what QuasarRAT is doing, it helps us develop better detection and mitigation strategies. And now let's explore how QuasarRAT is utilized by various threat actor groups across the globe. And various threat actor groups is actually employing QuasarRAT to target both government and private organizations in Southeast Asia and other regions. And most recently, the Chinese threat group APT-10 was observed to be using it for targeted attacks. And they focused on targeting intellectual property and sensitive commercial data in Europe, Asia, and in the United States. Additionally, APT-43 is also known to be using QuasarRAT, and this moderately kind of sophisticated cyber operator supports the interests of North Korean regime, and campaigns attributed to APT-43 include strategic intelligence collection, aligning with the Pyongyang's geopolitical interests. And additionally, a new threat actor that is now being called as core rider, believed to be a Vietnamese origin and financially motivated, has been operating at least since 2023. And then they target victims in several Southeast Asian countries, and they use RAT which is, a customized variant of QuasarRAT. And understanding all of these diverse usage of QuasarRAT by these really, important threat actors that are dangerous threat actors highlights the importance of, monitoring, advanced monitoring and robust defensive measures to protect sensitive data and infrastructure. As we can see, the QuasarRAT continues to present detection challenges, and despite being a well-known threat, like everybody's using it, QuasarRAT still has a lot of low detection rate on MyRestore. Only 3 out of 40 security vendors flag this file as malicious, and this shows how effectively it evades detection and how important the evasion is. However, VMRay was able to put the correct verdict on and catch all of the evasion behavior that the sample is trying to execute. And our advanced analysis capabilities over there allows us to see through the evasion techniques and accurately identify all of these malicious activities that is happening in the environment. And additionally, in response to all of these challenges that we're talking about, we have updated our configuration extractors to even go beyond and improve our detection analysis capabilities against QuasarRAT. And now I will give you a quick product demo on the same sample that you're seeing on your screen that's taken from MyRestore. And this will illustrate how VMRay successfully analyzes and detects QuasarRAT. Let me share my screen, and I will put up the report regarding QuasarRAT. Hope you can see my screen now, and in here you're actually viewing the VMRay's user interface. This is basically an analysis report that we have generated after submitting this sample to our systems. In less than 4 minutes, we were able to get all of these information about this behavior of the sample. And on the top left, you see a red mark that is actually indicating the malicious verdict on this sample. And right below that, we have the classifications, and this is the backdoor classification, and the threat name is attached, basically the QuasarRAT and QuasarRAT version 1. Basically, it's an interesting thing. We will show it in the extracted configurations, and it's an executable file. Looking at the remarks in that analysis, there was an anti-sleep mechanism triggered because the sample itself is trying to sleep and deter the actual behavior that is malicious and can be picked up by detection engines by sleeping at least 10 minutes and 14 seconds so that the analysis time will pass, and at the time of infecting a real system, this 10 minutes won't be mattering that much and will infect the machine. However, this is where we have a unique capability to actually fast forward this time from 10 minutes, 14 seconds to 1 minute, 7 seconds. We are able to detect all of these evasion attempts and do all kinds of stuff in the hypervisor layer to actually let them know that, hey, time passed, continue on your execution. And in the overview section, we continue on to the VMRay Threat Identifiers, which are again VTIs that are matched on all of the artifacts that is extracted from both the static analysis and the dynamic analysis of the sample. And on top, we see the most important thing, as we've been mentioning, we spend some time to perfect our configuration extractors against this QuasarRAT family. And we now have a lot of data in there. I will show it in a second, but we have a lot of other malicious behavior that we saw in this analysis that was like more than 3 minutes and less than 4 minutes. So in a couple of minutes, we were able to see all of these malicious, nasty behavior from this. And we have a match on YARA rule that possibly actually allowed us to correctly classify this. And we have the anti-analysis functionality, that the behavior that we saw over there, because we saw that this sample is making direct system calls to possibly evade hooking-based monitorings. And we also have reputation, but not antivirus in this analysis. Antivirus, it doesn't work for some reason because of the packers, I believe. And that's why the other analysis engines in the virus total was failing to detect this sample. And even if we didn't have the antivirus or this static detection mechanism that's coming from YARA, we have all of these other VTIs that actually enables us to classify the behavior and the family of this sample. Continuing on, this sample actually tries to evade the debugger by using the anti-set information threat, and it also tries to detect the debugger by the is debugger present API call that it made. It tries to hide files and enumerates all of the running process to check in which environment it is actually running. And a lot of samples or malware families are doing this behavior to check and not run in a virtual machine or hypervisor-based environment, but it doesn't have any effect on us. And it collects a lot of hardware properties, and there's some informative rules that are triggered in here as well that is driven by the behavior of the sample. I'm not going to go into the detail of each and every single one of them, but in top, we mentioned that we were able to extract the configuration with the updated version. And now I'm going to show to you what was the data that we extracted. And there's a lot of good information in here in the data that we extracted as a configuration from this malware. Again, malware authors embed and hide the configuration data to their malware samples, and they distribute them and in a way that all of these different configuration actually allows them to execute differently in different environments depending on the original set of instructions of the malware author or the threat actor. It even itself it has a version number, and this is what I mentioned in the beginning. It has 1.3 versioning in the malware that is being tracked by the malware author itself. And there's a lot of socket information, and there's some good communication, configuration over here, possibly with their CTU, and it actually includes a mutex to not infect the same machine again, which was extracted from within the sample. And it has salts, it has keys that is going to be cryptographically used, and it also has a client authentication key, which is really strange, right? And it's really beneficial for us defenders when we want to detect such a malware. Continuing on, we are able to actually give screenshots, as all of you know. Whatever is going in the environment while the analysis is happening is going to be visible to you and after the analysis, and you can actually go ahead and interact with the sample as well through the analysis. And sample started in rvea.exe actually is the original process, and then it created two processes, and then it to follow up on other child processes. As you can see, we can see the child process and also the RPC server information in there to actually grasp a bit more about what this malware is capable of doing. Continuing on, we have a MITRE ATT&CK mapping for all of the VTIs that we have. All of these detections that we do is actually be ending up in a mapped version to MITRE ATT&CK framework, and we're going to release a new version of MITRE ATT&CK mapping to 14.1, and it's going to come soon. And again, analysis duration is less than 4 minutes. It's amazing what we can do when we are setting the right environment to analysis. I will continue on to the behavior section of this sample and what it does in the anti-analysis part. And when we go to that process, we can actually see all of these calls, and it is going to take us there and show which process was this that caused the anti-analysis detection to be triggered, and what was the information behind this. And we can also see the extracted function call strings that is coming from our unique capability of monitoring every single Windows API call that is triggered in that analysis by the sample itself. And we can actually export or extract the string parameters out of it. And therefore, you can actually go ahead and write a detection rule, whether it's Sigma rules or Yara rules. It's going to be really beneficial because there's a lot of different things, keys, and some other stuff that we've been showing is going to be there. If you need a raw memory dump, you can go ahead and download them. And we take continuous dump throughout the analysis, which can be, really helpful for your advanced analysis skills. And we have a process here, all of the information with the command line parameters and some other information that's going to be beneficial is going to be shown in here. And not only we can see the command line parameter, and we can see with what function call this is going to be triggered. And we can see the parameters, as I said, and here cmd.exe with a certain parameters, it's probably command line parameters. But imagine this is happening on an injection in an NT-allocate virtual memory or some other Windows API call that is really dangerous. And you can see the parameters of it. You can download the data that is being injected, and you can also download the entire function call logs for you to do continue on the analysis yourself. And going to the files tab, we have all of the files, that is the original sample file, the dropped files, and as well as here we have the extracted files and downloaded files, and we do the differentiation because of, again, all of these files that are coming from different places has a different weight in the way we actually score the VTIs and also the files themselves. You see the original sample file was malicious, the dropped file was suspicious, but in the analysis stage, it may actually touch a lot of system binaries that are actually benign, and we don't want to show them as malicious to you to not waste your time. And all of these things are automatically done by the analysis engines and will improve the way you actually analyze these things in a fast manner. Going to the AV and Yara tab, again, interestingly enough, there's no AV match, but you can see that there's a Yara rule match, and the rule's name is QuasarRAT. So we were able to detect that QuasarRAT family with this Yara rule, and it was subjected against memory dump, not the original sample. I mean, we actually scan the original sample through our rules, but in this case, it didn't match on the original sample because of the packing mechanism. So throughout the analysis stage, to uncover the packer, we actually let it run. Since the operating system will need the actual unpacked version of the executable, we will scan them with our rules then. And we can also go ahead and show the exact rule that is triggered on this family and or memory dump, and you can actually take a further look into how this was detected, and also import your own Yara rules into VMRay to incorporate into the analysis results. Going to the IOCs tab, which is really interesting. In here, we are able to show all of the IOCs that we saw in this analysis environment. And in, again, less than 4 minutes, we were able to show all of these malicious IOCs. And this is also a unique capability to us. We score the IOCs depending on which related VTIs that they were attached to. And all of these things are going to be available. I see 21 IOCs now, but if I wanted to go deep dive into the filtered IOCs, which we filter some of the artifacts from your eyes to not confuse you and not just create a lot of noise to you. But if you think there is a value in them, you can go ahead and just dive into the clean IOCs. Maybe something of interest would be here. Maybe the execution order of these or visibility order of these IOCs are going to be something that is interesting for you to create a super timeline. All of them are going to be available for you in case you want. And additionally, you can export this as CSV 6.2.1, and you can also extract the entire thing, the function log, PDF reports, and so on and so forth. Last but not least, in the network tab, you can see this fancy map of world where you can see all of the communication in which countries that this sample is communicating to. We now see a craftwar.site domain address, which has happened to be malicious, and it also has a separate vertical by itself that's separate from the sample itself, right? And we can see the requests, we can see the HTTP responses from them, and we can see with what function call this operation was done, and we can actually go ahead and download the PCAP and do the further analysis in PCAP or network analysis tools. DNS request, same goes for it, and we share a lot of data with it, and also the whois enrichment is going to be available for this. So with that, I hope a lot of you are able to look at the reports in here, and also we have the threat feed that is public, and you can just go ahead and feel the sense of it, how a certain analysis report looks. So with that, I'd like to jump back to my presentation, and again, I'm sharing my screen now. So let's move on to the next exciting update, right? Our new VTI focused on OpenAI and LLM abuse. So as we advanced our detection technologies, understanding and mitigating threats posed by AI-driven tools is really critical. And our latest capability enhancement is designed to proactively monitor and identify these malware interactions with generative AI tools, which are pretty popular these days, and those provided by OpenAI and Hugging Face. And the reason why we do this is that as adversaries are using these AI tools to automate and improve their malicious activities, from generating phishing emails in multiple different languages and to creating sophisticated payloads. We think by identifying these network communications, we can intercept and neutralize the threats before they escalate, or just monitor it properly. And this proactive security enhancement or detection enhancement will ensure that we're not just reacting, but also actually proactively monitoring the threats over there, and allow you to prevent them in your own organization and keep our environment safe from AI-powered cyber attacks. So next, let's talk about another new VTI that's designed to detect and respond to attempts to disabling backup services, right? And this is particularly relevant for the ransomware. You may be thinking ransomware is old news, but it remains as an ever-present threat in today's landscape. It never goes away, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. And these ransomware attacks have been evolving in sophistication, and they're not sitting silent. And they're targeting not only individuals now, but also businesses, government agencies, and critical infrastructure. And in the rise of this ransomware as a service platforms that is ridiculous. They enable even the cyber criminals with limited technical expertise to launch ransomware attacks that actually potentially leads to a growth in the number of such attacks, right? Among the variety of tactics employed by ransomware, one particular strategy involves the attempt to stop or disable crucial services, such as taking backups or infected machines for several reasons. And one of the reasons for this is by disabling the backup services, these ransomware prevents users from restoring their data from backups. And this increases the likelihood that the ransomware will pay, the victims will pay the ransom to regain access to the encrypted files, as they have no other means of recovering the data, as they know. So additionally, when victims realize they cannot restore or retrieve their files from their backups, they may feel a greater sense of urgency to pay the ransom to regain access to their data. And this gives the attackers more leverage in demanding higher ransom payments, but also by stopping the backup services. Ransomware can prevent backup software from detecting changes to files and triggering alerts on initiating backup processes. This allows the malware to operate undetected for longer periods. This also maximizes the impact and the potential for ransomware payments. For example, Hackbit ransomware uses a blend of net.exe and sc.exe Windows configuration commands to execute these disabling maneuvers. And our new VTI has been crafted to flag attempts within malware samples to stop or disable different backup services. In a cybersecure landscape, any action aimed to disabling critical backup or database services is exceedingly uncommon. And therefore, the identification of such activity will serve as a vital early warning signal indicating a potential intrusion. Finally, let's discuss our updates on email threats, specifically our enhancements to the Smart Link Detonation feature. Again, in response to insights from our internal Q4 2023 threat landscape report, we've implemented key updates to improve our phishing detection capabilities within the Smart Link Detonation. For those who may not be familiar with the Smart Link Detonation, it's designed to facilitate the automatic evaluation of and safe detonation of relevant hyperlinks within the documents or within the email samples. And this allows us to optimize the balance between not harming the productivity, also performance of the analysis, and also the efficacy, and keeping the efficacy at high. So with this update, we expand our domain trigger list, and we aim to enhance our ability to swiftly identify and detect these threats that's stemming from widely exploited links. And here are some of the recent things that you see in your screen that is included now to the Smart Link Detonation triggers list. First, the graph.ly is discovered in one of our analyzed samples, which is used to conceal or further information, which potentially is going to evade automatic blocking or phishing detection mechanisms that is employed by all of these redirector websites. And it can also function as a redirector itself. Secondly, the r2.dev, we encountered a phishing page hosted on this domain that is seemingly provided by Cloudflare. And this addition to the list aims to mitigate threats originating from this source, right? Just like the rest of them. And doubleclick.net is an interesting one. And this domain was employed as a redirector for phishing pages. And to address this, we've updated this trigger and add a condition for doubleclick.net URLs to capture more phishing pages. And for linearobjects.com, we saw this domain as a storage service that is frequently used by malicious purposes. Last, again, but not least, we track some phishing campaigns that is abusing the Google Looker Studio, and which is a data analytics and business intelligence platform. And looking at it, why stole, we confirmed that there were multiple instances of malicious activity associated with this domain, and consequently, we've added all of them to trigger list. Sorry, I misclicked. So with that, I'd like to share some valuable resources and thank the community for their contributions. You can find detailed reports and insights on the following links that you see. Additionally, you can find public sample reports on our VMRay Threat Feed, including the detailed QuasarRAT analysis. Now that we've covered the main points, I'd like to understand how you most commonly use the malware sandbox in your work. Please take a moment to answer this final poll. Thank you for your participation, and your feedback is really valuable to us and helps us tailor our future sessions to your needs. We always take these feedbacks and bake them into our presentations and discussion items. And again, thank you for your attention throughout this webinar. Before we move to the Q&A session, I have some exciting news to share. And we're currently running a special campaign where new customers can get access to our services for 3 months, absolutely free. And it's a great opportunity to see firsthand how our advanced malware config extraction and YARA rules can enhance your cybersecurity defenses. And if you're interested, you can request 3 months of free access with the code detection2. And please reach out to our team via the free trial form on our website, and we'll get you set up right away. And now let's move on to the Q&A section. And please feel free to ask any questions you have. I see the first question as, may I know if this presentation will be shared? Sure, of course, we can tell our team to share this presentation after the webinar ends. I will handle this personally. There are no other questions. Thank you very much again for joining this event, and we'll be expecting you for the upcoming webinars that we do every month. Hopefully I'll see you there. Take care.